Welcome back to my channel, Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Ellen Corby really hated him more than anyone else. Ellen Corby was born Ellen Hanson Corby on June 3rd, 1911 in Racine, Wisconsin. She grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Even when she was young, Ellen loved telling stories, writing, and acting. These things would become important in her whole life's work. She moved to Hollywood in the early 1930s, first trying to find work behind the cameras. Her first jobs in movies were not acting, but helping with scripts and other movie work. This early experience taught her a lot about making movies and helped make her a careful, down-to-earth actress. She moved to Hollywood in the 1930s and first found work helping with scripts at RKO and Hal Roach Studios. This behind-the-scenes job gave her a close look at movies and let her watch how acting was done. But Corby really wanted to act in front of the camera, so she slowly started trying out for small parts. Her hard work paid off when she started getting tiny roles in movies, often playing strict or practical people, roles that fit her strong screen presence. Ellen's change to acting happened slowly, and like many actors from the Golden Age, she started with small, often unnamed roles in movies during the 1930s and 1940s. But it was her never giving up attitude and quiet determination that finally worked. Her big break came in 1948 when she played Aunt Trina in I Remember Mama. Her deeply touching and real performance got her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress and a Golden Globe Award. This role not only brought her praise, but also made her known as a powerful character actress who could bring depth and feeling to roles of older women, family leaders, and wise friends. Throughout the 1950 S and 1960 S Corps, Corby worked steadily in both movies and TV, often cast in roles that needed honesty, simplicity, and emotional wisdom. Her appearances included parts in classic movies like Shane, 1953, Sabrina, 1954, and The Young Lions, 1958, where she often brought quiet strength to otherwise calm characters. On TV, she was a guest star on many popular shows of that time, from The Andy Griffith Show to The Twilight Zone, showing her ability to adapt and her subtle charm in many different types of shows. But it was her famous role as Grandma Esther Walton on the long-running CBS TV series The Waltons, 1972 to 1981, that made her place in American popular culture secure and made millions of people love her. As Grandma Walton, Ellen Corby played a strong-willed, no-nonsense family leader whose deep faith, moral clarity, and unwavering love for her family became a source of stability during the Great Depression and World War II time shown on the show. Her performance was praised for its emotional honesty and quiet strength. She brought real warmth and dignity to a character who was both loving and stern. This role earned her 3 Emmy Awards and a Golden Globe and made her a household name. Even after having a major stroke in 1976, Ellen insisted on returning to the Waltons, and her real-life recovery was gracefully worked into the character's storyline, making her journey even more touching and inspiring to viewers. In 1934, Ellen Hanson got married to Francis Corby, a well-known movie director and camera operator who is about 20 years older than her. Their marriage was an important part of Ellen's early adult life. Francis, with his established position in the movie industry, may have given Ellen both companionship and a deeper look into the behind-the-scenes workings of Hollywood, an industry in which she herself was steadily building a career. However, despite a decade of marriage, the relationship did not last. The couple officially divorced in 1944 after 10 years together. Their marriage did not produce any children, and Ellen remained childless throughout her life. While the specific reasons for the end of the marriage remain mostly private, it is likely that the age difference, different life paths, and the intense demands of the entertainment industry contributed to the end of their relationship. Ellen rarely spoke publicly about Francis following the divorce, and the years that followed would see her directing her energies more fully into her career and personal growth. A turning point in Ellen Corby's personal life came in 1954 when she met a woman named Stella Lucetta. Stella, whose background is not widely known, became Ellen's closest and most lasting companion. From that point on, Lucetta remained by Corby's side for the rest of her life, a span of more than 4 decades. Though the exact nature of the relationship was never publicly defined in the language of the times, those close to them and many historians believe that theirs was a deeply committed and loving partnership. At a time when same-sex relationships were rarely acknowledged, especially in the public sphere, The bond between Ellen and Stella stood as a quiet but powerful testament to devotion, loyalty, and shared life. Stella supported Ellen through the peaks of her acting career and through her health challenges, especially during her later years. The two women shared a home, a life, and an emotional closeness that clearly sustained Ellen through the many seasons of her life. In 1969, Ellen Corby took a remarkable spiritual journey that reflected her deep curiosity about the human condition and inner peace. She traveled to Rishikesh, India, where she trained under the guidance of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder of the Transcendental Meditation TM movement. This journey was not a casual tourist experience. It was a deeply immersive spiritual undertaking that required discipline, introspection, and a commitment to personal growth. While in India, Ellen learned the techniques and principles of Transcendental Meditation in depth, eventually becoming certified as a teacher of the practice. Her decision to pursue this path came after she had already been practicing TM for several years in her personal life, suggesting that meditation had become a meaningful and transformative aspect of her daily routine. Ellen later spoke about the calming and centering effects of meditation, particularly in managing the stresses of her acting career. Her embrace of TM reflected her broader interest in wellness, mindfulness, and living a spiritually fulfilling life. Unusual commitments for a Hollywood actress at the time. Tragedy struck in November 1976 when Ellen Corby suffered a severe stroke. The medical emergency left her with significant impairments, including a weakened ability to speak and walk. At the time, she was at the height of her fame due to her beloved role as Grandma Esther Walton on the hit TV series The Waltons. Her absence from the show was keenly felt by both viewers and her castmates, as her portrayal of the no-nonsense but deeply loving matriarch had become a cornerstone of the show's emotional fabric. Ellen's determination to recover was extraordinary. She worked diligently through speech therapy and physical rehabilitation for more than a year, demonstrating immense perseverance and courage. Her efforts bore fruit when in March 1978, she triumphantly returned to the Waltons. Although her speech remained somewhat affected and her physical movement was more limited, her presence on the show brought a sense of authenticity and resilience that moved audiences even more deeply. She continued to appear on the show in a reduced capacity, and her performances were all the more poignant for the obvious effort and heart she brought to every scene. Ellen Corby's final appearance on screen came in 1997 in A Walton Easter, a made-for-television reunion special that brought together many of the original cast members of the Waltons. At this point, Ellen was in her mid-80s and had long since retired from regular acting roles. Nevertheless, her return for this special was a touching tribute to the character and the show that had defined her later career. Although her screen time was brief, her presence in A Walton Easter was symbolic, representing the enduring legacy of Grandma Walton and the deep affection that generations of viewers felt for Ellen Corby. It was a fitting swan song for a woman whose career spanned decades and whose personal strength, kindness, and spirit had touched both colleagues and fans alike. Though Ellen Corby was known for her warm, grandmotherly presence on The Waltons, a beloved family drama that aired throughout the 1970s and early 80s, few fans realized that behind the scenes, her relationship with some cast members was not always as perfect as it appeared on screen. One of the most surprising tensions, if not outright hostility, was allegedly between Corby and Richard Thomas, who played the earnest and sensitive John-Boy Walton, the eldest son and narrator of the series. While the two characters shared a close familial bond on screen, in reality, Ellen Corby is said to have harbored deep resentment and even hatred toward Thomas, a sentiment that sharply contrasted with her typically composed and professional demeanor. The roots of Corby's animosity toward Thomas are often attributed to a combination of personal, generational, and professional differences. Ellen Corby, a seasoned actress who had spent decades earning her stripes in Hollywood, was known for her disciplined, old-school approach to acting. She was careful in her preparation, punctual, and had a deep respect for the craft of performance. In contrast, Richard Thomas, although highly talented and well-respected, was still quite young when he took on the role of John-Boy. A product of a new generation of actors, Thomas occasionally brought a more relaxed, intuitive, and modern sensibility to the set, an approach that may have rubbed Corby the wrong way. According to several accounts, Corby viewed Thomas as arrogant, overly self-assured, and even self-important. She reportedly felt that his youthful stardom had gone to his head and that he did not show proper respect to more experienced actors, such as herself. This perceived lack of humility may have deeply offended Corby, who had fought long and hard for every role she ever landed, starting as a script girl in the 1930s before gradually working her way into acting roles over several decades. She may have seen in Thomas a symbol of the easy success she never had and resented him for it. Tension between the two reportedly intensified as the Waltons gained popularity. With Thomas being positioned as the central character and narrator, his face and voice became the most recognizable elements of the show. This centrality to the series likely created a sense of imbalance among cast members, and Corby may have felt sidelined or underappreciated despite her Emmy-winning portrayal of Grandma Esther Walton. Over time, her bitterness may have grown into outright contempt. Crew members later claimed that Corby would go out of her way to avoid socializing with Thomas offset, and that she rarely had kind words for him in private. Adding to this friction was the way Corby reportedly felt about Thomas' departure from the show in 1977. When Thomas left the Waltons to pursue other acting opportunities, including a successful run on the stage and in other TV productions, Ellen Corby is said to have viewed it as a betrayal, not just to the cast, but to the fans and the spirit of the series itself. For someone as dedicated to the Waltons as Corby was, this move may have seemed selfish and career-focused. It is believed that her already negative opinion of Thomas hardened permanently after this, and she never forgave him. Though there was never an official public feud between them, those close to the production have occasionally hinted at the frosty distance and unspoken animosity that lingered whenever the two were in the same room. Some even speculated that Corby's health struggles, including the massive stroke she suffered in 1976, made her emotional responses worse and deepened her grudges. Still, even after returning to the series in a smaller role post-stroke, she reportedly remained as critical and cold toward Thomas as ever, if not more so. Ultimately, Ellen Corby's alleged hatred of Richard Thomas serves as a stark reminder that the world behind the camera is often far more complex and emotionally charged than the family-friendly stories being portrayed. Whatever the full truth, this tension adds a surprising layer of depth to the legacy of the Waltons and to the private emotional world of Ellen Corby, a woman whose on-screen warmth may have masked a far more complicated inner life. In 1999, after enduring several years of declining health, Ellen Corby passed away at the age of 87. Her final years had been marked by the lasting effects of a major stroke she suffered in 1976, which had left her partially paralyzed and with a speech impairment. Although she courageously returned to her iconic role as Grandma Esther Walton on The Waltons after a long recovery, her health gradually got worse as the years went on. Corby eventually moved into the motion picture and television Country House and Hospital, a well-known retirement community and medical facility in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles that has long served aging members of the film and TV industry. The facility, supported by the Motion Picture and Television Fund, provided her with the medical care and comfort she needed in her final chapter, surrounded by peers who had also dedicated their lives to entertainment. Ellen Corby's death marked the end of a remarkable life and career that had spanned over 6 decades in Hollywood. She was mourned by fans, friends, and fellow actors, many of whom remembered her not just for her professional achievements, but also for her quiet strength, generous spirit, and unwavering commitment to her craft. Her passing was felt deeply by admirers of the Waltons, where she had brought warmth, dignity, and emotional depth to the role of Grandma Walton, a performance that had earned her multiple Emmy Awards and left an indelible mark on American TV. She was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, one of the most prestigious cemeteries in the region. Known as the final resting place of numerous Hollywood legends, her gravesite, located among the manicured lawns and peaceful landscapes of the cemetery, is a modest but poignant tribute to a woman whose on-screen presence had become synonymous with familial strength and wisdom. Visitors to Forest Lawn can find her memorial among those of other iconic figures from the golden age of Hollywood. A fitting place for a woman whose quiet strength and deep humanity had earned her a permanent place in TV history and in the hearts of countless fans.